What do you think is the main piece of advice young people should hear?
How real am I going to get on this?
Hiya, I'm Betty. I'm here with Upgrade Yourself on an industrial estate in Silvertown in London. I'm about to go meet creative collective Resolve at their new workspace. Let's go say hello.
You're going to get stuck in as well?
Yeah, I'll help. You tell me what to do.
Today we're going to assemble, using those materials that we see around us, a table and hope for the best.
Wellcome Collection, obviously we're a design studio, interdisciplinary design, and a lot of the work that we do is thinking about this the resource thing, but I think for us reciprocity is really important because we work in a city which doesn't reciprocate as marginalised people a lot of the work we do, a lot of our labour, a lot of our passions, and actually so a lot of this work we're taking systemically, even though we're thinking about local interventions, about how we can rectify those things and send to equity and also materials.
A way that we can distribute our materials and our resources to the communities that we support.
A lot of this has come from materials that we've salvaged from different institutions across London, and a lot of the things that we do revolves around a design philosophy which is thinking about the site of the resource.
Why have you chosen to do that?
We started in 2016 in Brixton, which is close to where Seth and I are from. There we are, look at that. And so a lot of the work that we were doing was thinking about our community in these areas, like gentrification and also changing landscape. Materials are a really important part of that because actually the material landscapes that we exist within, they communicate value to us, right? And they communicate a sense of belonging, they communicate our histories. To be able to construct space in a landscape where space was being taken away from us, we found a really important language in materials.
Did you say Resolve started in 2016?
2016. When we just formed out of a will to do something. It was only through a series of mishaps and chances that we formalised.
How easy, how difficult has it been?
Super difficult. There's almost an ethics to telling people to do something like this because you could do something else. This is something which sometimes bears no reward. Often you suspend your career, your desire to have a family, to have stability, and you have to then work based on something that you can't see or touch, it's intangible. And on top of that, it might not come true. There's a lot of collectives that we were born around, they're not here anymore. You have to give up a lot, and it's not necessarily the thing that everyone needs to do.
When Akil and I kicked off Resolve, the first ever projects we did were in Brixton. We were interested in how do we work with and for local communities, but we were kind of rooted in a place that we were familiar with, a place that we understood, and Brixton was the home of that. Brixton has a history of social justice movements that overlap with artistic movements as well. What we shouldn't do is make it seem as if it's plentiful in other places like it is in London.
We started working in Sheffield in 2019.
What Sheffield allowed us to tap into is really, truly radical ways that people were testing ideas because there was a lot of space, but not a lot of resources. So you have to get creative. You have to be able to kind of pool the resources and think about what you can establish with the limited things you have. That's the polar opposite in London. And comparatively, there's so much money in London, there's no space.
A lot of creatives work on their own, in isolation, whereas I suppose you guys, you have each other.
And so you don't have to belong to a collective. There's other ways to work within the creative industries where you're not so beholden to or you have to commit fully. You could try it out and see if it is for you. If you're able to make these sacrifices, the privileges that you can tap into, and we bring so much all together. Deeply giving, every day, learning something new.
What do you think is the main piece of advice young people should hear?
A decision that you made when you were like 18 years old doesn't have to be the only thing and the only route that you go down for the rest of your life. I'd say nothing is linear or has to be linear. You don't have to go the same route that you started down, doesn't have to be the same one that you end on. Ask questions, like reach out to people anytime you're confused about something or you have the smallest question, ask it.
When you start, your greatest resource is the people around you. It's helpful to think about your area, your ends, as being a resource, being something that you know best, something that you have a deep knowledge and understanding about, something that you can collaborate to make something from nothing, to improve your circumstances, to transform your circumstances. So we can be responsible for one another's well-being, we can be responsible for our own well-being, and that I think is a big step, actually.